introductions, right? That's what we are starting with this month. Next month, we are going to go into many other things that are in line. So let me start at once. So you already know me. My name is Engineer Daniel, and the purpose of this whole thing is because of the type of plans and the type of designs we see these days, and we find out that most of the people we are teaching software don't actually understand the basics of the software. For instance, somebody who you are teaching how to use product structure for designs might not know all the factors of safety or why he should use product structure. Some other people who are teaching Revit, for instance, doesn't know how to sketch a plan by themselves on a paper that will be translated into Revit. So that is why we are coming up with this training. Mind, it's not even free, but I made it free so that we can all benefit, and then you can get to uh, learn what we have. We're expecting from other people. So in the meantime, um, our instructor for today is David Strong. He's an architect, and I want him. He has been great since I met him in 2000 and I think 2019 or so, doing different things as a youngster, and he has been doing more than wonderful. And I decided that I should bring him in here so he can share a bit of knowledge with us. Okay, so I will hand over the mic to him so I can focus on welcoming those that are coming in. So, uh, Davidson, you can take over.
Yes, I see. Good evening, everyone, from um, wherever we are studying from. My name is Davidson, and I'll be taking us, or I'll be learning with us. Let me just put it that way, because I think learning doesn't end. So we'll all be learning the introduction to architecture. We'll be looking at how architecture comes to be. We're looking at every single thing about architecture, the foundations of architectural thinking, and what architecture is really about. Because I know a lot of us are in the built environment, we see the things, and with my knowledge is that some of us are structural engineers, builders, and civil engineers who are interested in knowing what architecture is about. So this class is to show us on what architecture is and how we can think like architects, design like architects, and solve problems like architects. Oh, sir, can we start the class? Can I start the presentation?
And that's why I handed the mic to you.
All right, sir. So I'll be sharing my screen. Share my screen. So I don't know if we can see my screen, but uh, this is my screen.
If you can see the screen, can you share a thumbs up or this thing so we can know you can see the screen? I think they can all see your screen, Davidson.
Because okay, so this is week one of introduction to architecture and design thinking class. And in this week, we are going to be looking on the foundations of architectural thinking. We're going to be looking at what are the basics of architectural thinking, how do we think like architects, what are the problems that come up that we decide to solve, what is the thought process that involves in designing. So we're going to be looking at what architecture really is. Architecture is more than just drawing buildings, as we all know. Architecture goes beyond just buildings because some architects go into fashion designing, some actually go into music. It's just about the thinking, looking at the problem, identifying the problem, and also finding a solution to the problem. But the architecture we are going to be looking at is going to be focused on building. And architecture, it's the design of spaces where people live, work, and interact. It is to me, it is everything that we do every day. Architecture is anything. Architecture just has to do with, okay, this is the problem, how do I solve it? That's architecture. Because architecture is what will let you to know that, okay, this is a building. What brought about the idea of this building? Why is the entrance here? Why is the parking lot here? How does it relate to the other buildings around it? So it's like a shape, like we say, it shapes the experiences, the culture, and the environments. Because architecture is everywhere, like I said before. It's not just in the designing. It has to also do with uh culture and the environment. It's like so. I would say it's beyond drawing. It involves creativity and imagination. It requires problem solving skills. To be an architect, you have to be ready to solve problems because problems will never end. They will keep coming. They will keep up coming. And as an architect, you just have to find a solution to this problem. The time the management of this compound was always getting blocked. And who did he call? He called the architect to find the solution. And yes, as an architect, you can't say no, that's not your job. As an architect, you have to find a solution to the problem. So architectural integrity of the building. Can the building actually stand? Is the building able to withstand the years to which can it stand time? Will the building be able to will it be able to remain there after natural disasters like flooding, tsunami, and some other natural disasters? And okay, if the building now is there, what human needs is it solving? Why is the building there? What brought about the idea of putting the building there? So architecture is trying to just add up all these things, the engineering, the environment, and the human needs. What is the role of an architect? The role of an architect is to design functional and beautiful spaces. Yes. We coordinate with engineers and builders. Yes. They ensure the safety and structural stability. And then they also consider environmental sustainability. Now, if we look at the buildings or the images on our page, on our screen, we are going to see this building. And if you look at the building, it's a very beautiful space, a very wonderful space. But some people are going to ask, is it functional? Yes, it's functional. Is it functional in Nigeria? Possibly not, but it's a functional space that also fits into the location and the environment to which it was built in. Does it satisfy the needs? Yes. It's a building that is also serving as a monumental structure. So it's both solving the human needs of which they are using the building for, and it's also a masterpiece to which people can look up to. So I would say yes, it is functional and it's a very beautiful building. Now, to come up with this building, there have to be coordination between the engineers and the builders. Yes, the architect has designed this wonderful building, but then the engineer has to also come into place and say, okay, this building can stand, this building is functional, this building will not collapse after being built, this building is able to withstand natural disasters. And yes, you need to say, okay, yes, the what the architect has designed is fully buildable. And then the builders are going to come and say, okay, if this is the design, this is the structural design, how do we go about it? So the architect has been able to coordinate with these engineers and the builders to be able to bring out this structure. Because yes, without the engineers and the builders, the architect is just designing a beautiful building and the space. But with the engineers and the builders, the architect is building a functional space. Is building something that is that is safe and structurally stable. And also, if you look at this building, the facade of the, or should I say the roof is made of panels, and these panels are, how would I call it? Kind of like renewable. They can be turned into other forms of things when after recycling. So, like our fourth point here says, consider environmental sustainability. The material that they used for this roof, the gypsum material, is very sustainable. So, and not just builds a space, it also makes sure that the building is not a waste. It makes sure that a lot of things and resources that are not being used again are still useful, even though they are not being used again. So, like we all know, in some buildings they use scaffolding. Those scaffoldings, so architects are the one that design those things. Like we see, architects are everywhere; they do everything. So that, how would I call it? The scaffolding can be packed up together, dismantled, and taken to another place to be used. That's what we call sustainability. So after being used the first time, it can be used again. So that's what I was talking about, the roof, the panel that they use for the roof. They can be recycled and be used for other things in the future. Go to the next slide. So architecture. Architecture combines arts.
Hello.
The first thing that comes to your
Excuse
mind
me,
is, oh,
please. We lost you at the beginning. We lost you somewhere. You
at
were saying
this
what is architecture and so forth.
this slide,
The next one, the beginning of that slide. The beginning of the yes,
this one.
yeah.
Okay. So I was saying architecture is the fusion of arts, science, function, and responsibility. So in architecture, when you see a building, the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh, this building is a very beautiful space. It's a very beautiful structure, like the one I just showed us in the last slide. So that is the arts of architecture. It's like, oh, you see the greenery around the building, you see the gates with the ornaments, you see everything about the building. You're like, wow, this is what architecture. You're now looking at, okay, if this is the building, what are we looking at in this building? What's bringing about this building? What is the science of this building? That's when we look at the structural stability. We look at uh, the doors, the windows. Those have to do with dimensions, which is another aspect of science. Well, it's we start looking at osmosis, considering all these scientific things that happen to a building. Like, okay, when you're in a building, how hot can the building get? You look at, okay, this is the position of the building. What is the direction of the sun? Like, we know the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. So we look at, okay, where are the beds going to be positioned in the building? How, when after sunrise, is the occupants of the house, are they going to be awakened by the sun, the early morning sun, or in the afternoon when the sun is high, that they can be able to relax? Will the rooms be too bright and hot? And we also consider what we call the headroom in a building for the proper circulation of air to reduce heat. So this is science and also a bit of function, the functionality of the space. Then when we now go into function, we are looking at, okay, when this building is here, how functional is the space? It's like when you walk into a building, the first thing you walk into is a kitchen. The building is not functional. If that's it, that's the first space you are getting into. Because when you look at in terms of privacy, it's not possible. The kitchen is not private. The kitchen is meant to be a private space and not a public space. That's why when you see from an entrance, the first space you see is probably an ante room or a lounge, a small lounge before you get into the main sitting room. It's just to be able to say, okay, if the owner of the building is probably not aware or has not been informed you are here, they will allow you to go into the ante room and sit there instead of allowing you to go straight into the lounge for privacy reasons. So we also look at the functionality of the space. That's the functionality of the space. Is the building functional? Is like now the sits the sitting room. It means you can be in the sitting room with in a meeting, and then the smell of pepper from the kitchen now will be disturbing you from the sitting room. That's not functional. Or you're saying somebody is coming from upstairs, and the first place this place is landing into is the kitchen. That's not functional. And then what's the responsibility of an architect? The responsibility is just to make sure that your space is functional. You have to also make sure that your building, the heart of your building is there. Your building is beautiful, it's attractive. I mean, everybody's building these days to have a very beautiful house. And then we also look at the science of the building. So when we fuse all these things into one, that's where we get architecture. Because if you look at the definition of architecture, it's the art and science. So architecture is the art plus science plus function and responsibility. So we are going into the design process. So how do we design? The first step in designing is to identify the problem. So it's what is the problem that you're trying to solve? Why are you going into designing this building? What are the things that you are going to consider? So that's when we look at the brief of the client. Then we get the brief of the client, the person that wants to build the house, and then we ask, okay, what do you want? You want a duplex, you want a bungalow, you want this, you want that. Okay, so what is the problem that you don't want to build in? You see, someone will say, okay, I want my master bedroom downstairs and the rest upstairs. Some will say, I want my master bedroom should not be far from my sitting room. So you look at all these things and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, this is a problem we could face in the future. So we have to have private space, the public space, the sub public and the sub private space. We have to be able to zone the building into those spaces. Then we have the research and the site analysis. That's when we go to the site and you look at the site and you find out, okay, what is the topography of the site? Would you need to have a basement if the topography is sloping to a particular direction or to the back? And you also look at, okay, if this building is here, what is the direction or what is the pathway of the sun? So that when you are in the night or when you're in the evening, in this during the sunny afternoon, the sun will not shine directly into the building. If not, if the sun shines directly on the building will be very hot. So you also consider that okay, at night, the breeze, the wind, how does the wind flow? How does it come in? How does it go out? So you also consider all those things during the site analysis. You also consider how will the drainage in the area. Sir,
Yes.
okay, I thought you were calling me, sir.
No, I wasn't.
So you
If
you
well, let me ask
consider
one.
the drainage in the area. How is the water
Before you
passing
go,
through the drainage? The drainage is. Would you need to include a new drainage into the place? Would you need to pass the drainage to somewhere else? Is the drainage going to affect the building? Is the drainage existing drainage going to overflow into the property? So we consider all that in this site analysis. Then we go into the concept development. So we try to sit down and say, okay, we've done all these things. How do we want the building to look like? What is the concept behind the building? So that's when you see some people will say, okay, the concept of their building is unity. they are trying to show how the spaces in between the building are in synchronizing. Like, okay, this building flows with this building, this space flows with this space, this flows into this space, this space flows into this space. That's unity. So it's like when we look at some plans and we see open floor plan. I know we've been seeing open floor plan where there's just a space, like apartment building. Then inside that roof space, you have to like arrange your scenes to have your bed area, to have your lounge area, and then you have the toilet and the kitchen. So that's like an open space. So we can say that's a unit, the concept of that space. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, if you can hear me, if
Is
you can hear him, or
can you
if
still
you
hear
could
me?
hear him, please try by showing a thumbs up.
Okay. So we go into the design development. So in the design development, this is where we now actually sit down to sketch out the spaces of the building. That's when we do what we call the bubble diagram. It's just made of bubbles or circles where we now say, okay, this is the flow of the building. We go from the entrance, we go into the ante room. From the ante room, we can see we go into the lounge. Then from the lounge, we can see the dining area. From the dining area, we can see the kitchen or an hallway before we get to the kitchen. Then there's a staircase that takes us upstairs. So that's the design development. So we are like, okay, this space goes into this space, goes into this space, goes into this space. That's what we see as the design development. Then we have the presentation and implementation. The presentation is creating it on a titled sheet, a panel sheet, and then that's what you show to your client. It's like saying, okay, I've designed this, I've properly done what you asked for. So this is what I'm giving to you. That's what we call the presentation sheets. It's like showing them the design on the sheet. Like, okay, this is what we've done. And then the implementation is taking the design and going to site to start the layout and um, the marking out the site boundary and all on site. That's to start the groundbreaking on site. That's what we call the implementation. Is carrying out the groundbreaking on site. So our practice exercise, we are going to analyze a simple residential building. So we are going to look at a floor plan, and then we're going to show how we break the building into species and functions. How the building, we divide the species, how they are flowing into one another. So if we look at this, it is a floor plan, the presentation floor plan of the ground floor and the first floor. And then when you look at the floor plan, this is the entrance of the building. This right here is the entrance of the building. So it comes in. Now, looking at this floor plan, I can see a lot of mistakes already at this floor plan. There are a lot of mistakes already. But someone else who is looking at this design is going to say, okay, this is okay. This is a very good plan. But me looking at it, I already know that when it comes to our design, it is wrong because we say it has to be the art has to be there, the science has to be there, the functionality has to be there, and then the responsibility has to be there. So the building now, the art, we can see the art from like a 3D or an elevation of the building. That's where we can see the art of the building. But the science, like the arrangement of the species, uh, the toilet and the kitchen is divided from the living room, so there's no there's no obstruction. Maybe the smell of pepper, or maybe somebody is cooking something and you don't want to hear the person doing frying something. That's another thing. So when you come in, the door opens to the left. There's no problem in the door opening to the left, but the problem is
David,
that for you to
excuse
be
me,
able to
David.
pass through this space,
David,
sir.
yes, can you
Yes, sir.
allow them to identify the errors and then you correct where necessary? Remember, it's an activity.
Okay. So activity, yes, sir.
Hmm.
So the floors in this building, number one is from this entrance, this door. That's floor number one, the entrance door. Then we also look at the stairs. I don't know if you can see that the staircase on our ground floor and the first floor are not similar. I don't know if you can notice that, but the stairs on the on the ground floor goes in a different direction from the stairs on the first floor. If you can identify that, we can see the arrow on the ground floor going up from the left. And then on the first floor, you can see the arrow going up on the left, which is not possible. So that's floor number two. Then number three, we are coming back to the ground floor. This WC, the toilet on the ground floor. It cannot just it cannot just be there because it can't be there. So give let me explain why our floors, because we identified three floors: the entrance door, the staircase, and this toilet. Now, this entrance door now is opening to the left, which is not a bad thing. But for it to open to the left, it means that the door has to be closed for someone to be able to move from here to the living room. Because the space between this door and this wall is not enough for a human being to walk through. That's flaw number one. That's why we say a building has to be functional, and it's the responsibility of the architect to make sure that the arts, the science, and the function of the space are in fusion. So this door has to be moved to open to the right, so that you can close the door behind you and walk freely into the living room. That's the solution to flaw number one. Now, this door behind the this door that opens into the toilet, the visitor's toilets, cannot be there, because for this door to open to the left and to the right, it means it's going to obstruct this door at the WC at the toilet area, which means the toilet entrance has to be moved to somewhere else. So now the solution that we can come to is that this door, the wall of this door, will have to move to this particular area. So this wall has to go all through, and the door will be here. So it will be able to open to the right and rest on this wall, and then it won't obstruct the wall that goes into the visitor's toilet. So after you come in and you come into the living room, we also go back to the stair area where I said there's a problem with the direction of the stairs. When the stair goes up here, it means by the time it gets to the first floor, the arrow should be this way from here to this point. The arrow should be pointing to the left, like this. But if you come to our first floor plan, we can see that the arrow is still going back. The arrow on our stairs is going back.
Hello, sir.
So
Sir, I
it's
can see anything.
sir. Okay. So we can see that on the first floor, the
Excuse me.
arrow is still on top of the ground floor stairs. So it will work this way, because what we are saying on this first floor is that on the ground floor, the stairs starts from this part, which on the ground floor, the stairs starts from the left, not the
Armstrong,
right, which means on the
Armstrong,
ground floor. Yes, sir.
please pause. If you can see the screen, can you signify with a thumbs
Sir.
up?
Sir?
I'm telling them to signify that they can see the screen because somebody commented that he cannot see the screen. I think
Cannot
you
see the
should,
screen.
yeah, if you should check this intermittently, so I will confirm if people are following or not. All right. Okay, so we can confirm that some
Okay,
people are
sir.
seeing the screen. And Kelly, you are raising your hand, but not now. You cannot speak now. Let him finish so that we can speak. Davidson, you can continue.
Yes, sir. I can continue, sir.
Yes, you can continue.
Okay, sir. So what I was saying about the staircase is that the starting riser or the staircase is on the left of this ground floor. So it means that by the time we get to the first floor, which is upstairs, the riser getting to the top floor is going to be on the right, which means this arrow goes this way, goes this like a mirrored C. It goes this way. But if we come to our first floor, we will discover that the arrow goes back like this, which is wrong. It's totally wrong. So this arrow is meant to go this way, not like this. So that's the problem in the floor plan. So if you look at the functionality of the space, you see the flow coming into the living area, and there's a dining, and then we have the stairway. Then the kitchen is tucked in on the left, and then we have an office on the right. So basically, this ground floor has no bedroom. It's just a private area except the kitchen, a public area except the kitchen. So it means someone can walk in and directly go into the living room. So there won't be any problem in terms of privacy because there's no bedroom. There's nothing private going on downstairs. But when we get up, we can see that there's an hallway, there's a lobby. We have bedroom one, bedroom two, bedroom three. Then we have a spare room for here that can serve as a library or a kids room or a playroom or it's a spare room. Then we have the master's bedroom on this side. Now, when you come here, we have the bedroom on this side and then opens into the toilet for this bedroom. So there's something we call ensuite. It's when a room has its own closet or wardrobes and then its own toilet. That it doesn't share toilet with another room. That's what we call ensuite. So all the bedrooms here are ensuite. They have their own toilets and they have space for a wardrobe. So when we come in here, there's a bedroom and that's its own toilet and it has a very small balcony on this side. Then we've come out of here, we enter this bedroom. It has its own toilet and it has its own balcony on this side. Come out, we have a bedroom here. That's its own toilet and its own balcony. Then we have this spare room that can be used for a library, can be used as a child's room or a playroom, it can be used as a mini lounge, can be used for anything. And then this space here, I know we've seen some buildings where we call the double ceiling, double volume. Is that in the sitting room, the headroom is not the same, it's double. It means the ground floor to the ceiling of the first floor is double volume, it's the whole room. That's what we have on our usually on designs, they will just put an X from here to this point, and from here to this point, and we call it a void. But since this is a presentation drawing, it's not a working drawing. That's why there is no X or a void written there. But this it's a lobby that will comes into the master bedroom. and the master bedroom has its own toilet and also has its own balcony. And this is a sliding glass, a curtain wall with a sliding door inside. So it opens into the balcony. So that's what we have here, the ground floor and the first floor. So if we move to the next slide, we can see what we call the elevation. So this is how the building looks like in front. Like I said earlier, the ceiling of the living room is double volume, which means it is from the ground to the ceiling of the first floor. It's the whole room. And that's what we can see here. The glass starts from the bottom and goes up because this is the living room. And then we have a balcony here from one of the rooms up. And then this is the master bedroom. This is balcony of the master bedroom with a railing, glass railing. And this is the approach view of of the design. And then if you look at this from year to year, it's what we call the parapet wall. We call it the parapet wall. And then there is this gray thing on our wall. We call it coping. COPING. It's called coping. So that's what we place on the parapet wall. The parapet wall is what hides the roof. The roof is always inside the parapet wall. So it's just another form of art. So it covers the roof. So we are not able to see whatever rafter and everything inside the roof. We just see the wall. So you can design the wall, you can add different paints and all to the exterior of the wall. So this is our approach view. So in the design, what were the things that we identified? We identified the function, what each space is used for. If we come back to this place, the living room is used to entertain guests, is used to watch movie because there's a TV there. Then the dining is used to eat. The kitchen is where we cook. The home office is where we handle our business. Toilet is where we handle our business. The bedroom is where we sleep. The balcony, fresh air for more ventilation, light, and all. And then the circulation, how people move through the building. We can see that from here, after we identify the flaws and then the solutions to the flaws, you move inside, you come into the living room, it's easy access to the dining. Then there's like a space here, a break here where you come in here, you can go to the kitchen on the left or the office on the right, and then the staircase that goes upstairs. And then up here when you get here, you flow into the building, each room has its own toilet and also it's a very seamless flow where you just come in, one space leads to another space, leads to another space, leads to another space. So you're not confused on how the space or how movements or circulation is inside the building. Then the form, which is the overall shape and mass of the building. When we look at this, it kind of wants to give us a square, but it's not a square because when you look at it, it's like a rectangle on top of another rectangle. Or overall, it looks like a square with some extruding parts. So the mass of the building is the shape of the building. Is at the end of the day, how does the building look outside? What is the shape of the building? That's what we call the mass of the building, is the exterior walls. How do they look like? So in our class discussions, we are going to be looking how does the building support daily activities, and are the spaces easy to move through, and how does the form relate to the function? So now, how does the building support daily activities? If you look at this floor plan, it is very easy to identify how it supports our daily activities, because after you wake up and you have your bath and you put on your dress and you come downstairs, instead of going straight into the dining, you can just go into the kitchen, prepare something for breakfast, and come out into your dining, eat whatever you want to eat. If you want to work from home, you work from home in your home office, or you just come out, simply go get into your car and go to work. When you come back, you come straight into your house, to your living room, If you have dinner waiting for you, you eat your dinner, you go upstairs, climb the stairs, go upstairs, you go to your bedroom. Simple. So it supports your day-to-day activities. So it's okay. When you wake up, you do this, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. That's how your day goes. So it is a very seamless transition if you look at the plan of this building. Then how are the spaces? Are the spaces easy to move through? Very easy, because you see that some spaces don't even have a door, especially on the ground floor, like from the living room to the dining, it's just open. So you just walk through it, or you just go through the staircase before you just enter your bedroom and you lock the door. So it's very easy to move around this building. Very easy. Then how does the form relate to the function? Okay, when you look at the form of the building, the form of the building is, as we said, is the overall shape and mass of the building. This form of the building, how does it relate to the function? What is the function of the building? The function of the building is a residential building, as we all know it. It is where you sleep, you eat, it is where you live. Basically, it's where you spend your free time, or it's where you try to relax. It's where you call home. So how does the form relate to the function? The form of this building just gives us a very minimalist look. It is very easy to look at the building, and it's just telling us that okay, when you see a building like this, it looks very residential, because there is no how would I call it? No too many glasses. When you look at it, it's just you walk into the gate, straight into the door, straight into the house. So you look at the building and you say, okay, when you look at the building, it's actually giving you a kind of like residential vibe. It's like, okay, this is somebody's home. This is where somebody resides. So it's not saying, okay, when you look at the building, you are seeing an office. And when you get inside the building, you are seeing a bedroom. So the building is actually saying, okay, this is a residential building. So the form of this building is actually telling us that yes, it's following the function of the building, which is a residential space. And that is what the form is showing us. Because there's a philosophy in architecture where it says form follows function. That's when you have the form of a building, inside the form of a building before you decide the function of the building. While there are other philosophies that says function follows form, that the function of the building comes before the form of the building. So that's what we talk about. That's what we say. How does the form relate to the function? So I don't know if you have any questions, because that's how that's basically introduction to architecture.
All right.
Yes,
Kelly
sir.
have been raising his hand. Kelly, can you ask your
Okay.
question?
Okay, all right. Basically, sir, please, I don't know if you can help me move the diagram to the very first floor plan. That I'm having a question to ask in that.
The floor plan.
Yes, 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 the floor plan, yes. So, sir, I want to ask a question because I wanted to, first of all, contribute when Engineer Daniel said we should talk about the errors in the plan. So, I wanted to contribute about that
Okay.
door also. Yes, I wanted to say that the door can be moved towards the right side. Then the door for the bathroom can be moved towards, like the door for the bathroom, the toilet can be moved to the front side. So it will, I don't know, can still work like that. So you don't need to enter that little lobby before you get to the toilet or the for the because
Toilet.
it's like a visitor toilet. Yes, yeah, that's how it is.
You're
So
suggesting the door to be outside.
yes, for the toilet because I thought it's for visitors. So because the other door clashes with the main door to the living
The
room.
main door.
So yes, you can
Okay.
move the door to the other side. Then meanwhile, you can move the one for the toilet to the front, so that at least you can enter from the uh, entrance of the house. So I don't know if it work like that.
It's what you're saying is very valid, but it's not ideal because it means if let's say at night when your house is locked, it means somebody could be in your toilet after jumping your window, your fence, and you won't know. So for security purposes, it's better to just have entrance and one exit door so that you are easy. You have access or you have the control to be able to say, okay, no, this is who is in my house and who is not in my house. So it's like,
Okay.
okay, the entrance door, the exit door, just two doors.
Okay.
So you know that when you've locked the exit door, it's just the entrance door. You lock the entrance door, you mean your house is safe.
Yes, sir.
So
Okay, sorry.
keep the door
Uh,
outside.
yeah, I want to quickly ask one other question. Is this toilet right in that place? Like this place now where this toilet is now, is it right by putting the toilet there? Hello?
Yes, the toilet is okay where it is.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Joseph is raising his hand. So Joseph, you
Okay.
can unmute yourself and speak.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. I want to
Good
thank
evening,
the
sir.
presenter for the well thoughtful presentation he has given to us this evening. My worry is still on the kitchen and sorry, the toilet. No, I know that
Okay.
this diagram is for presentation, but I can as well also see
Okay.
areas where there are windows in this plan. But for the toilet, the the window is not shown. So, and
Yes, sir.
where the WC will actually be, if the entrance door is at the extreme, it means that the WC will be at the at the point where we have the stairs. So can it be when you want to do your MEP, that the plumbing, will it really fit in that very particular place? That is my worry about that toilet. Otherwise, if not for the fact of the security you talked
Okay.
about just now, trying to say that the
Okay.
door could be brought to the entrance this way, although it will not be facing the staircase, but immediately after you enter, then on your right it will be there, so that the WC will be moved inward at the extreme, so that the window will also be at the extreme right. So that is just my area of worry. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Is it you mean the toilet on the ground floor?
Yeah, the toilet on the ground floor. The toilet that toilet
The
that
toilet,
serves as a visitor toilet.
visitor's toilet. No, the toilet on the ground floor is not connecting to the stairs.
No, no, no. I made If you want to enter the building,
Hello?
there are three stairs that you will first of all climb before you enter the
Okay.
main balcony or whatever. So at that point, is
Okay.
that where you are going to put the toilet sink, or rather the WC, and the window will also be
No,
there. So how will you run piping? That's the area I'm
no,
trying to
it's possible for the WC to sit on this wall. Can you see this wall?
Yes, I can see that.
So the WC could back this wall right here, and we can
Okay.
have a small window on this side, and we can also have the window say on this other side.
Okay, I think that is the proper side the window would be, that make it look beautiful. For the window to face the
Yes,
south, I think it's not too proper.
yes, yes,
Thank you.
Okay,
yes.
before I allow others to talk, before let me allow others to talk. Mr. Edgar, I'm sorry if I'm not calling the name well. Mr. Edgar Charshi, I'm sorry if I'm not calling it well. Can you unmute and speak, please?
Good evening.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening, sir.
Yes, I'm not comfortable with the toilet, the W, when you just enter the on the entrance. The first thing that you meet is the toilet. So me, I was thinking that if we can do some adjustment where maybe a toilet if it can be moved where an office is, and then an office we bring it back where the toilet is. The
Okay.
second, the other question that I have is how do you develop a concept? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So you are saying the WC should be swapped with the home office. Yes, it's possible, but we also have to consider that the WC, the space for the WC, the dimensions for WC cannot fit, or the office cannot fit into the WC, the toilet space. So the home office, the space of the home office actually goes along or aligns with the walls of the building. Like we all know in architecture, there are what we call the grid lines. This line, this line, this line, then the ones horizontally. So when we look at the WC, to move the WC to where the home office is, means that we have to have an equal amount of space for the home office to be returned back to where the WC is. And for that to be the case, it means a lot of space will be lost on this part to put the WC here, and then a lot of space will be taken from this area to have the home office. I don't know if you understand me, because the toilet has to be on this side for ventilation. And then you
Uh,
said, how do we develop concepts?
Maybe before you answer the second question,
Okay.
what of maybe if we can adjust the WC, we adjust it under the staircase. How can it be?
It,
Like, because I'm not
it,
comfortable when you just enter the room, the first thing that you see is a toilet. You
I
get my
understand what
point?
you're saying, but I get your point, but it's a visitor's toilet. It is a visitor's toilet, so there definitely has to be a toilet for the visitor. And when you come in, if you look at it well, you're not coming into, because the door is going to open to the right, which means your attention is going to be focused to the left. So the WC there, it's the toilet there it's not something that will be concentrated on, even though it's a need and a necessity that it must be there. Because if you see that, if we have that toilet removed from there, there's no other place it could fit into. You were saying you could put it under the stairs, but if you put it under the stairs, the headroom for the WC won't be enough, because the stairs would have taken part of it. It means when you go into the toilet, you have to bend down. I don't know if you understand me.
Yes, I
So
understand
you
your
were saying,
point. But
okay.
I think
So you
maybe
were,
if we can find where we can adjust it, it can be okay. Rather than you just enter the first thing you see is the toilet, which is opposite the living room. Because
living room.
even the when you see the door of the toilet, it's just direct into the living room, which means there will be hair which will be coming from the toilet direct into the living room.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
I'm getting your point.
well, let me just speak on this. This plan is supposed to be a plan to be corrected, and I'm happy that we are all
Yeah.
correcting it. You understand? Because it's meant to be, if you take the introduction before the plan, you find out that it's the activity, meaning you have to find out what is wrong with it and solve the problem on the listing. So I like that everybody is questioning it to try and find out and adjust what is going on. But for Edja, for instance, please, how do you pronounce your name? Let me know. I don't want to pronounce it wrongly again.
Edgar.
Edgar, sorry. Thank you. For
Yes.
Edgar, having a toilet there at the entrance is not a bad idea. All right, it's part of. It's just that most times, what should be done is either you place it before the anteroom or after the anteroom. But in this case, there is no anteroom. All right, that's why it is where it is now, or adjacent to the anteroom, meaning you are just in the anteroom, you just go in there. So I know your challenge is how will it be so close to the living room, and why should it be the first thing that somebody walks into? I get your fear, and I understand, but thank God that we are using this opportunity to question this whole plan, because the plan is supposed to be an activity where everybody questions and find out what is wrong with it. Davis, you can continue as per the concept he was asking of.
Concept. So we're talking about the concept of the design. How do you come up with concept? To come up with concept is, I would say, is not hard, because you can wake up tomorrow and say, your concept is the way you see a brick, the way they lay a block. You know, when we lay a block, we lay it one, and then we lay half. We lay another one that covers both half of the two that is down. Do you get me? Hello?
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Or let's talk about a pedestal. When you see a pedestal that has where people stand, where you see the first position, the second position, and third position, you know that they're not always on the same level. That's at competitions like the Olympics and all. When they give the gold, the silver, and the bronze to their winners, when they stand to take pictures, the one with the gold is always taller than the one with silver, and also taller than the one with the bronze. So if you take that kind of pedestal and you look at it, it wants to give you like a cross, but you cut off the bottom part of the cross. It's giving you something like I don't know how I'll put it, but it's just giving like you cut off the bottom part of the cross. So you can decide that, okay, this is how the building looks like. This is your concept. The concept is you are taking the pedestal that they use for to give awards. You are taking it, and that's how you want your building to look like. So you can decide that, okay, my building is going to look like that. 3 different layers, 3 different levels. So concept is just about, okay, this is what I want. I can see a sunflower and decide that, okay, the uh the yellow part of the sunflower, which is round, is what I want my building to look like, round. And then the flower parts of the sun or the sunflower, those flower parts could be my site, could be the green area around my site. So I can make my roof yellow, and then the green area around my site, put it in the shape of a sunflower. And that's how I have my concept. So the concept is just, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm like, okay, what do I want my building to look like? What is the inspiration behind this building? That's how we come up with concepts.
Okay.
Well,
I got your point, which where you say that when you, let's say, when you're developing a concept, a concept supposed to move with the, it's more or less like a form in short, not so. And then you say that a form supposed to follow functionality of the building.
Functionality. Yes.
Yes. So now, let's say, for example, I'm told to design, let's say, a school, and then I come up with a concept of an oval egg shape. How can it be related to the function? Yes. How can it be related to the function of the building?
Okay, you create, your concept is the oval shape of an egg, and then you want to create a school. So you are going to make sure that the okay, so you're going to make sure that when you look at that oval shape from outside, when you look at it, it is giving you, it is telling you that, okay, this is a school, or okay, this is a commercial building. It's like, say you are looking at a building that is looking round, or you're looking at a building that is let's say a skyscraper now. You're looking at a skyscraper that is 40 floors, and they're telling you it's a school. When you look at it, you say it's a lie, because a 40-floor building cannot be a school. It can only be an apartment building, an office building, or all that. So the concept, which is the egg, the oval shape of an egg, has to also tell you that, okay, when I'm looking at this egg, it's also telling me that it is a school. It means, okay, the surroundings of the egg would be telling you that it is a school. Like, when birds lay egg, they lay egg on what we call sawdust. I don't know if most people use sawdust, but in poultry, they are sawdust. Or when they are in poultry, where they use wire mesh, this kind of small wire mesh. You can use that around the building, and then use that for a campus like site. And then when you look at the egg in that site, the site is going to tell you that, okay, this is like an education area, this is an education environment, and then you see the egg there. So the egg is just aiding them to also see that, okay, this is the function of the building. It's a school. So necessarily your building does not always have the form, does not always tell the function, because that's why there are two philosophies. They say the function follows the form, or the form follows the function. It means you could say it's a school before you decide the shape or the form of the building, or you could say it is an egg before you decide that it's going to be a school or it's going to be an office building.
Okay, let me add to this, please. Your concept starts from your site plan, how the shape of the land first.
Yes.
You need to know the shape of your land. That's where the survey comes in play. Because some people, if you plan an egg shape this, and then the land you have is like I wouldn't say triangle, because triangle is a perfect. It's like a strip of a rectangle, right? The egg shape might not enter the whole thing with all the surrounding things you need to have in the school. So if you have a school, and then your concept starts from what is the survey plan saying. After that, the next level to it is now, what do the people want? What do they want to communicate by the building? In the slide, Davidson talked about that some people want to communicate unity, and they get to put things around to make that unity. If you take, for instance, some banks or someone, you see that they have a wide entrance. That wide entrance, or wide, how do I say, wide entry wall. It might not be functional as something that somebody can walk into, but it says you are welcome because of the wide entrance. If you take some banks, you will notice that I think mostly Access banks have it in Nigeria. In the front of the building, there is a wide wall standing, and then inside it, just inside, you now see an entrance funneling in. That is telling you welcome. So it now depends on what are the people trying to, what do they want to communicate? Okay, that's when you now have all those forms. But the starting point first is your survey plan. Because if the land is not shaped in such a way that it can accommodate that distance, the building or the school, then you have to buy more land to get what you want. For instance, the hotel, the Dubai hotel, you can see that it's in the middle of the sea. But for the fact that if they are building in the middle of the sea, they need to paint a picture, and they decided to paint a picture of that ship, the olden age ship curtains, those curtains that drive ship in the olden days. So that's why it is shaped like a parabola on one side and a straight line on one side. If you're looking at it in one face, you think that, oh, this could be a ship in the water, but it's not a ship, it's a building. What I mean is this, let me share the picture of the building. So it depends on one. Okay, in that case, you find out now that in the hotel case, the land or survey plan doesn't matter because they reclaimed the land and then did what they did. But if it's on a plain land, you find out that your survey plan matters first, because the shape of the land will tell you whether the building will be L-shaped when you look at it from the top, or triangular shape if you have enough space for that. So that is the thing. But in the meantime, I just want to show the hotel. Dubai Hotel, what's the name again? So it depends on what the people want to communicate. In the UK, there's a building that looks like exactly egg-shaped because of what they want to communicate. I want to find it.
I think it's called the Burj Al Arab.
Burj Al Arab is the tallest one. Oh yes,
Isn't that
Burj Al
Burj
Arab.
Khalifa?
Yes, that's correct. Burj Al Arab because
Burj Khalifa is the tallest one.
yes, that's correct. I want to open the picture and just share and show you people what I mean by that. Images. Okay. Just give me a second. In the meantime, Mr. Gerard, get set with your question while I share this big image. Davidson, you can stop sharing, please.
Yeah, good evening.
I'm almost there. See what I mean with this? You can see, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
in the case of Burj Al Arab, you can see that it's a reclaimed floor. You can see a reclaimed distance. That's what they have here. A reclaimed sea. And you can see what they decided to communicate here. If you look at it, it looks like that this like a ship sailing somewhere or hanging in a harbor, something like that. That was what they wanted to. That was what the yeah in that building. So just as I said, the if on land depends on your survey plan. It's very, very important. Okay, so let me answer. Let's get Mr. Gerard, you can ask your question, please.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I even said last time saying I can't see the screen. I just wanted to find out about the doors. Are all the doors on the right positions?
We
That's
can
the
get
question
you
one.
can.
And then,
Sorry to ask that, Scott you in. David, you can share your screen once more, please.
Okay, sir.
yeah, so that's a question. Is all the doors on the right position? And then the second question is ground floor and first floor. Is the same is the same plan or is it different? Because when I see when I can just see the measurements of the ground floor and the first floor, seems like it's different, and also the shape is different. So if it's the same one, now how can you do the pillars? Example, where there is um, a staircase for ground floor and the staircase for the first floor. So how can you do the pillars? And then there's a bedroom far end at the first floor. Also the kitchen there, the shape, there's a shape there which is it's not straight, it's like it's a cave or maybe a bend. So I don't know how can you do for the pillars. Thank you.
Okay. So the doors, they don't all open to the left. They can open whether to the left or to the right. So the only thing is that when you look at this home office, the easiest way for the door to open is to the right because it opens and touches the wall. But if you do it to the left, it means that it's going to obstruct whatever is going on at this part. Whatever is here, this door is going to obstruct it. If you have a table here, it means that when somebody opens the door, if the person does not enter, you won't know who is at the door. But with this way now, whoever opens the door this room, you can see whoever opened the door wherever you are from inside the room. So that's the functionality of the door. Then
Okay,
we're talking
thank you,
about
sir.
having pillars in the building. I think I'm not a structural engineer, but I think the columns are going to start from the ground floor, and that's what is going to hold the first floor. I don't know if I can show you the 3D of this piece, but
Please,
the walls. Yes, sir.
yeah, please. Remember, this plan is supposed to be a plan to be corrected.
To be corrected.
It is
Yes, sir.
not constructible. It is an activity plan where somebody can find errors and
Errors.
then use it as part of discussion. Because if you look at this building, the ground floor and the first floor, just looking at it by scale, they don't look alike.
They don't look alike.
Yes, they don't. So
I think what I'm trying to observe here is the scale of the ground floor is bigger than the scale of the first
exactly.
floor. So if we are going to align that based from what we have, this column design we have in the front, I think if you are aligning that with the first floor and the ground floor and the staircase, you might be able to get the sense of where the spaces are aligned to each other.
To each other. Yeah. Because I don't know if I'm able to share my screen to share the design.
Okay. While you are trying to share the design, the next person that will ask question to ask is Mr. Gideon.
I don't know if you can see this.
Yes, we can all see it.
Yes, we
Can
can
we see
see it.
this?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can.
You can see it.
Yes, we can. Go on.
Okay, so this is how the building looks like from the front. This is how it looks like. And if we look at it well, we see that the back, like someone said, the scale is different. And also, not just the scale, when you follow the walls, you discover that the top is longer than the first floor is longer than the ground floor. And it's because on the ground floor, we have a pool under the first floor. Class, I didn't really think about it. I was just putting up things just to make up.
It's fine.
Just to bring out the beauty. Just put it there. So when we look at this design, it's going to tell us that okay, when you look at this wall, the pillars, the columns are going to be here. They are going to be here. They are going to be here. They're going to carry the first floor. Then at the back, we can see this. Yes, sir.
Go on. The next person with the question is Mr. Gideon.
Okay.
Over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I just want to make a contribution or contributions. And again, too, I also wanted to ask a question, or I needed a clarification. And but in the course of discussion, I think I've been so in a way cleared on the area I needed clarification. I want to contribute starting from hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Go
I
on.
want
Hello, sir.
to, okay. Starting from pointing out errors in the design and
The
the
design.
presenter, yeah, the presenter did quite well as pointing out the errors and explaining the necessary corrections. And starting from the visitors toilet, I want to say that like some of my colleagues have asked or questioned the positioning of that the toilet, visitors
Toilet.
toilet. Yeah, I want to contribute that. I think that is the best in as much as is a visitors toilet. Remember the name and the purpose of it. So it's a visitor's toilet. It is not supposed to be anywhere internally in the structure in the building. Why? Because you might not know who is going to be a visitor tomorrow and all that, and what his intention is. And likely it might be somebody who say, okay, go ahead and use your restroom, use the restroom, and you're not expected the person to be inside your building. So where it is a quite is a right position as far as I'm concerned. That's my personal opinion in that aspect. Then secondly,
Okay.
having the visitors toilet on the ground floor, I'm also of the opinion that there should be another toilet for the owner of the house. Yes, it's clear that what we have ground floor seems to be a kind of business environment. You understand? But he will be there. He will watch his television. He will prepare his food. He is not expected, in a way, by my own opinion, to share the same toilet with the visitor's toilet. I quite understand it's a presentation design or drawing. Yeah, so that is my contribution. Then again, sir, please permit me to say something about the concept as somebody asked the question what the concept will be. Hello?
We can hear
Okay.
you. Go on.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Engineer Daniel had actually um, said something or prepared solution or response to it. Number one, he said the shape of the house or of the land, of the piece of land is the first thing that comes to mind when it has to do with the concept of what you are to do. You understand? Then secondly, is the purpose of the building. The purpose of the structure is from there you develop the concept of what you need to do. So you must understand the purpose of the structure, you understand, before you can develop a concept for it. So these are one or two things I just want to contribute. And where I wanted to ask is, where I wanted clarification is from the first ground floor and the first floor. You see that there is no connection between the two, the position of the staircase. There's no connection. It's not practically possible to connect as it is. But we understand that the drawing is not to scale and all that. So that is fine. It can be reviewed, and once it's reviewed, because merely looking at it, you can see the size of the kitchen on ground floor and the size of one of these rooms there that is in suite upstairs. You see that the room is longer and bigger than the one downstairs and all that. So
Yes.
that's just the area. But since it's a drawing, sorry, a presentation drawing, it can definitely be reviewed and put in a practical form. Yeah, that's just my take. Thank you so much.
All right. So let's welcome
Thank you, sir.
Aubrey Mani to have the mic. Aubrey, are you there? Aubrey, are you there?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here. Yeah,
Okay. Go on.
Morning, my fellow construction members in Africa. Good evening, all. Yeah,
Good evening.
my question on corrections. What I have seen, notice here, it's about on the kitchen and the dining room. Can the presenter show us again that ground floor again? It's missing there. But I'm looking about the kitchen and dining. I've seen there's no any special communication or can say locomotion from the kitchen to the dining. That means if the production in the kitchen, there's passing through the living room. This is what I see is not good. It's better at least to open somewhere there where this food can go direct to the dining, and for the sit room just to alert them to say that the food is ready, but not to show them that the food is now going there. That is not good. And also, I'm looking for to say this is the big house whereby I've seen only the one entrance, which is not good. Had it been, it's better also in the kitchen, that is the back door, to have also the entrance. For my colleague has already said about the correction about the WC on the position and the doors there. That is good. But what I have noticed is about only the 2 or 3 things what I've mentioned here. So can we discuss about it? Because I've seen that it should be corrected on those areas. Thank you for that. Listening my point. Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, the kitchen. I understand what you're saying, but you're saying the kitchen should not. They shouldn't be able to come out to the kitchen to announce or to show the people from the living room that okay, the food is ready. So there should be like a special space between the kitchen and the dining where they can bring the food into the dining without telling everybody in the living room that the food is ready. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, what I've said is about the kitchen and the dining should have only the space. Hello? Yes, that is what I'm saying about it. The kitchen and the dining should have only the special, or I can say the passage from the kitchen to the dining. Only, don't just go past through the living room. This is what I'm saying. And also, I'm looking about
I think what he's trying to say is there should be an access, a direct access from the kitchen straight to the dining, rather than going through that circulation area where you have that stairs. So you can have a door that links directly. You're bringing in food from the kitchen and you get to go straight to the dining rather than go through. Yeah.
Living room.
Yes.
So that's another solution and to the problem on the design.
Yes, exactly. And like you also said, there should be an exit door. There should be an exit door in the kitchen or the dining.
Exit door.
You should, ideally, like it's a big house, one, and a kitchen ideally is supposed to have an exit door so that in case of fire incident or emergency, you can easily, and the door should open to the outside. You can easily just go outside. You should have an exit door around the kitchen. And in some cases, if maybe the kitchen is too small, you have 2 doors, you are reducing the space, the functional space in that kitchen, you can bring it to the dining. So that place where you have a connection from the dining wall and the kitchen, you can have a door there. So you can easily access that door through the kitchen and the dining. So it serves as an exit door.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for your contribution, sir.
That's another observation, and I'm happy everyone is finding this out. This is meant to be corrected. Mr. Tayo, actually, you are the next person to speak because of our time. I think you can, if you do have a contribution to make, I know you've started, you can. If you also do have a question to ask as a you can continue.
Okay, there are more or less contributions anyway. So I want to add to that visitors toilet that somebody contributed to earlier. You said that ideally there should be an extra toilet for the owner of the house, which is true, because the lower space is like a work area and an entertainment space for guests, so to say. So I think the solution to that would be the guest toilet here seems to be too big for just, since you're not supposed to have, you're not to have a shower there. You're just having a WC and a wash hand basin or a vanity. So that toilet, I think, can be
Yes.
divided into two. And then the home office has an ensuite toilet that the homeowner can use. And then you can also use the remaining space for a guest toilet. And then concerning the concepts that we're talking about, I think concept, ideally, we have this misconception of concept where everybody always want to assume or want to have a concept whereby it is a shape, but there are different ways to bring out the concept of a building. Concept can be the functionality of a building. It doesn't have to be necessarily be a unique shape or a unique floor plan that has a certain kind of shape or something. So like the other person rightly said, a concept usually follows what you have on your site, your survey plan. And secondly, the most important thing that determines your concept is the functionality of that building. What is the owner of the building? What is the client trying to sell with that building? So, and by the time we misunderstand what that concept or what the concept is supposed to be, and we're trying to bring out the shape, we might completely miss the functionality of the building. So ideally, it is very, very important. That's why the idea of form follows function. The function should come first, and then the form can come later. But in some unique cases, it can be the other way around. Just like the example that was shown to us, the Burj Al Arab, which in that case, you're trying to sell the image of the hotel. So in that case, the function, the form works in that case. But in an ideal situation, we are supposed to focus more on the functionality of the building, because the example that we are looking at right now, we're having a lot of, maybe, of course, it's a presentation, but let's assume this was a plan that was proposed to a client. There are a lot of issues with the floor plan, and that might come true because maybe we're trying to follow a certain shape for the floor plan, or we're trying to create a facade which will affect our functionality. But ideally, we are supposed to have a functioning building, a functioning floor plan before, creating a facade. Or I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much for the contribution. Davidson, I know this is not a defense for anything, so just leave it. Meant for us to just talk about the plan and find out what is the issue and learn in the process. And that is what this whole video, this thing is about. I still have 3 people whose hand are up, but I'm not sure if they are raising their hand for the second time. Or Mr. Gerard, are you raising your hand for the second time, or is it the first one you had on before? I think it's the first one you had on before.
Yeah, because I wanted to finish given the question. Now he entered, so there's 2 questions that remains. Yeah, the first question is I can see some steps outside the dining, so I don't know if there's a sliding door there or what. And then the last question is the plumbing issue of WC on first floor and the dining area somewhere there. So I don't know how we can do the plumbing works. Thank you.
Okay, the plumbing works, like we said before, this is a design that has flaws in it, and we are just here to review and identify the flaws. So, the plumbing issue of this design is firstly, the architect is not, how would I say it? Yes, he considers that there's going to be a plumbing design, or the MVP are going to do their design, but his job is just to make sure that their walls, there is a flow of how this are going to the plumbing pipes. And I think in this design, there are walls through which these plumbing pipes can go through from the first floor to get to the.
It's all right. As per this whole this, you mean as per the plumbing work on the distance, there is no how do I say it? There is no casing for the pipe to pass through. What I mean is, if you look at, okay, it can hide somewhere here, but the functionality, or will I say the aesthetics that comes with hiding plumbing pipes, I wouldn't say it's not fully considered, but remember, this thing is just for us to correct, and we'll look at it, just finding out the flaws and then finding out what to do. And this is also introduction to the architectural design. When we now come into the main of principles of design, we will now attest and arrange this whole thing the way it should be. All right, Mr. Joseph.
Sir. Okay. Actually, I wanted to contribute, not that I really have any question. As far as, for instance, as it is now, we are analyzing the design, the ground floor and the first floor. This design does not have dimensions now. So when you're looking at it, a lot of people are looking at it in a vague manner. So you're thinking that maybe apart from those errors that we have highlighted, you would think that the first floor is smaller than the ground floor. It's because maybe the kind of in the Revit drawing has maybe it kind of draw it narrow. Otherwise, if you see what is happening here now, there are a lot of cantilevers in the first floor. There are a lot of cantilevers. That is why you are not seeing a lot of things. Otherwise, I think that despite the fact that it's a presentation design, but there are a lot of things are also okay here. Apart from the earlier errors that I'm seeing here, they are perfectly okay. Perfectly okay, because what you are seeing here, there are cantilevers that you cannot, if you really have the knowledge, that is why you'll be able to teach them out. Because the walls now, you can't see that they are aligned. They didn't align because there are cantilevers that extrude. That is why we are seeing these things, the manner they are now. Even in the ground floor, if you look at the living room, and if you look at that of the first floor, there's also a cantilever that enter the living room. So these are some areas that we cannot really see. And if you look at the kitchen aspect of it, you will see that there is a staircase. There is a staircase under the window, by the window side of the living room, because you can see a window there, or maybe a glass whatever there. So, and that staircase also extends to the kitchen, whereby there can be a door there that somebody can use to go outside. That's why the fact that there are no the door position is not shown there, or the door is not being placed there, but there is a provision where one can put a door there so that there can be an exit door from the kitchen. Another thing we should consider cost and safety in any building. Most times, if you decide to be putting more, the more you put doors, the more the cost of the building. So when I see that this kitchen, the distance of this kitchen door to that of the dining is not all that much. So creating another door to link the dining again is an additional cost, which I see that is not too necessary. So these are just the area I just want to point as far as the analysis of this diagram is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. There's somebody that's not spoken. I will give chance to those that have not spoken before so that they can speak. Mr. Oluwasegun Adeyoju.
All right, sir. Greetings to everyone in the house. I want to ask a question, and I think I also will have one contribution. My question is, since this is introduction to architecture design, I want to ask, is architectural design environmental? Because there are so many things when you are designing for some people, they will tell you need to understand the culture, and I just really want to know that. Then my contribution is, and which I can actually borrow from the last speaker on when they did discuss about cost. No, some people were saying yes, they should have 2 toilets, and I think from everything I've been seeing, hardly can you see you having a 2 toilet, except when you have a guest room on your ground floor, because of cost. And again, functionality, because when you have 2 toilets, whereby you said one is for your guest and the other is primarily for you, the owner, wherever, you will find out that in terms of usage, people will prioritize one to the other, and that could create a mess in the living room. So I believe once there is a guest toilet, even if there is no guest and you are in your living room, watching things or doing things, if you want to use your guest, if you want to use your visitor's toilet, it so be it. As long as it is your room, it is your apartment, and you are neat. And if you just feel like you don't want to use it, you want to go to your bedroom, but having 2 toilets is an additional cost, and in terms of functionality, that I felt something will be off in the long run in terms of maintenance. So that is my contribution to that. And to my first question, I want to know if architectural design is cultural and environmental. Thanks.
Well, it's architectural design, cultural, and environmental. Yes, because when you are designing, let me say, when you're designing a palace, the way you're going to design a palace is way going to be different from the way you're going to design just a normal residential building. Because in their culture, they might say, okay, when you come into a palace, the first person you see, they used to say, like in the Yoruba land, I know they used to say there is a something before the king. So there is somebody you see before the king. So that alone is going to tell you that okay, this also this certain culture, when you are designing for them, when you're designing the palace for them, okay, when you are entering from the door, you go straight to see the person before the king. That's what I see a culture about, and you can see decide that okay, if this is their culture, how can you incorporate their culture into the design you are doing? And then you're asking about the environmental, is architecture about the environmental, about the environment? Yes, because when you're designing in the place like the north, in the north now, they have like we know they have very high sunshine and very low rainfall, which means that most of the times having a roof there might not really be conventional. But when you have a how would I call it, like a concrete roof over your head, over there as the roof. When it's concrete over the roof, as the roof, you can say okay, you have that as a rooftop, a sit out because of the heat. So they can go there at night and cool off. And then there's also this new trend where people build or people attach what we call boss plants. Is where they like plant things on the wall to make sure that the room inside the building remains cool. So when you are looking at the environment of a place will tell you how you design the building. So our normal windows, you can decide that okay, you don't want to use sliding windows because of the heat, and you want to use casement windows. You want to use windows that will open all through, so that there can be enough breeze coming in because of the heat. You can decide to increase the headroom. So environmentally, architecture is also, we have to consider when you're designing a building, you also have to consider the environmental factors, the area that you are trying to design in. That's why I say you have to do site analysis. You have to analyze the site properly to be able to decide how you are going to factor in the environmental challenges into your design. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes. And then too, I needed to ask something to the toilet. Engineer Mike once said, when you are trying to design, you need your site plan, which is very important. And again, you need also to consider the government regulation that will also determine the
Yes.
spacing that you are giving, such that sometimes, because some people want to rationalize, they might try to reduce a space and that could be disallowed. That no, in terms of regulation, there is a particular square meter for your visitors toilet and for bedroom. So we also have to incorporate that. And I also want to chip in something. When Engineer Mike was actually referring to the hotel at Dubai, it is always very necessary to come up first with the survey. Even if they are building on waters, they do survey water. These are the works of the Joe, is it Joe something? Those who deal with marine, because I know one of
Geoinformatics.
yes, geoformatics. So they do surveys on sea to know the depth and the areas they want to use. So even at that, before building that hotel, they must have conducted a survey on that area to know the kind of square meter they want to make use of and the depth of the sea to know the planning. So that is just my contribution. Thanks very much.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oluwasegun. Please, I will give priority to those that have not spoken before. So, big choice, Deco. Go on. While we're waiting for big choice, Imavis Construction, please go on.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, class.
Good evening.
Yeah,
Good evening, sir.
you have done well, and I'm happy to have this as a family or as a community to learn something from it. My question is, what are the factors to consider when design a glazing glass or glazing burden?
What? So I didn't
Yes.
get the question well.
What are the factors
I think
when,
the factors.
yeah, yes, that contribute to select a grazing burden?
Do you
Glazing.
mean glazing or glazing?
Glazing.
Okay, that contributes to glazing. Okay, like glass.
Yes.
What are the factors that contribute to the use of glass?
Yeah, that contribute. Yes.
Um, I don't know how to answer the question, but I think in this present day and age, we all use glass for our, how would I call it, for our designs, but also
Yes.
the excessive use of glass is also not good because it traps heat. It's especially those glass that cannot open, the ones that are just there that of course how they call this glass, but those aluminum, no, not aluminum, the tinted glass,
Yes. Hello, good evening.
they 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 trap a lot of heat. So okay, so they trap a lot of heat, which means if the glass is too much in the building, the heat in the building will be too much. That's one of the disadvantages of glass. But also, we also know that
Okay.
glass can also improve the aesthetics of the building.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
while we are trying to make sure that the building is aesthetically pleasing, we also have to make sure that too much of it, we should run away from it. We should avoid too much use of glass to avoid excessive heat being trapped inside the building.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And my next question
Okay.
is based on the drawing, the design.
Okay.
The first floor,
Okay.
since the
Yes.
notice something. The wall, we
Okay.
don't have the dimension, but if you consider the distance, it seems the wall on the first floor will not align on the ground floor plan. Won't that one cause harm to the building?
Okay. This design that we're looking at is a design with flaws. It's meant to be reviewed. We are meant to identify the problems with the design. Are you following me?
Yes.
So if we look at the ground floor and the first floor, we can see that the scale is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the scale is also one floor that we have identified. That the ground floor is different from the first floor in terms of scale.
Yeah.
So we have come to the conclusion that with this particular scale, the first floor might not be able to sit on the ground floor. That's the problem that we've
Yes.
been able to identify in this design.
Okay.
Yes. So I think on the more detailed and after reviewing the design, the walls and the on the ground floor and first floor should align.
Okay.
The
Thank
thing
you,
is,
sir.
the design is meant to be flawed, so we can identify the flaws
Okay.
because it forms part of our discussion. And if you
Okay.
take now, we've been talking about this flaw for almost 1 hour now,
Yeah.
and that is what it is designed to be.
Okay.
Thank you very much for attending. Kelly was raising his hand. Kelly, if you want to say something, now is the time. Okay. In the absence of that, I want to use this opportunity to thank you all. It's not been easy, even for the person who is presenting. It's not easy to hold a lot of people and they are talking and bombarding questions as though, but it's good. I'm grateful for your contributions. It's as we all talk and discuss like this, we get to learn new things in the process, and that is what has displayed here. Some people's questions were answered even through this whole presentation. We will have opportunity to go into the next topic maybe in the next month because it's one topic per week. So we'll be able next week we'll be talking about introduction to building estimation. That's the next one we're going into. I should start promoting it from tomorrow. Let's just gather and talk about it. Let's get to know all these basics because they are important. Why I say it is important is if you get to understand this thing when you are now designing, when you are sketching before you go to Revit or before you go to any software for designing, you first need to know the sketch by paper, understand the functionality by paper. Though some people can be so, how do I say it, can be very, very, can be an expert, and then they draw directly inside the software, which is what we expect of everybody. But in the meantime, you should be able to have the plan, and then go into the software and demo and execute the plan. Because that is what the software is meant for. Thank you very much. It's almost, we have 10 minutes to the closing of this whole thing. Our courses are still coming on, both the ones that are live and the ones that are video tutorial. But the video tutorials are now, they will no longer be like it was before. So I think I should start telling you more about the video. All of them should be available for you to learn from the end of this month. And we have decided to make it structured such that you watch the video for few set of videos for this week, and then you do an assignment before you'll be able to go to the next week's training. That's one thing we have done. Second thing we have done also is, or we are working on currently, is to include an AI chatbot that will reply. So it reply you while you are learning. Let's say you are learning at 2 a.m. Engineer Daniel is sleeping. You can't come and message me that time and say, oh, how did you do this? But with the AI chatbot, we are trying to make sure that as you watch a video and you have doubt, you just type the question in the chat and it replies you according to the particular video you are asking about, or according to the question. It will find the answer and give it to you. That's the second thing we are working on. Then the other one is gamification of the whole thing, meaning in order to encourage you all to learn, you earn points by watching the videos completely or doing the assignment completely. And that those points you earn in the future can now be used as partial payment if you want to buy another something. Let's say you have started with Revit Masterclass and you are learning it and learning. As you complete a video, you earn a certain amount of points. As you complete the course, you earn a certain amount of points. Now, when you gather those points together and you want to buy, say, Lumion tutorial, you will use that point to give yourself discount. So the more you learn, the more the ability for you to give yourself discount in the next training or in any other course you want to learn. That way, your reward of learning gives you discount or partial payment, and then it encourages you to learn more. That's the view of what that was the vision I have in as a result. That's why we put that in place. So that's another one. Some of you already using it and they could see the points, getting the point. They see themselves getting the point at the moment. But I want to make sure that everything is set by the end of this month and you can start the video tutorials. And for those that want to do the live classes too, those that want to do, not everybody, those that want to do the live classes, you should be able to access it too. So that is what we have. Thank you all for attending. In the meantime, let me just pick Joseph's question and know what he's asking about.
Thank you, Daniel. I want to ask if engineering the mobile version of Revit training software just for training, so that because this issue of light and using the laptop or the desktop is really giving me a lot of concern, and it's making me not to catch up with the assignment and things like that. So if you can do the Android version of it or mobile version of it, we can use our phone to be doing all this assignment or learn through our phones. And if something that can come up with the nearest future. Thank you.
My brother, you can learn via your phone. The web app that we have on the platform can be downloaded on desktop, it can be downloaded on your phone, and it can be downloaded on your iPad. In fact, the way you should learn is actually have a phone by your side and have your laptop on the other side. As you are watching through the phone or tablet, you are practicing with the laptop. That makes it easy. If you are watching on the phone, on the laptop, and trying to practice on the same laptop, you'll be moving around and it's going to be confusing. So because you have a screen here opening Revit, and then you also have the real Revit on your laptop, you wouldn't know which is which. But if you have a tablet, even self, your TV smart TVs these days can do it. It's just that we are using a website. That's why TV, I don't advise TV again. But before, I used to tell my students, use the USB, plug it to your TV. As you're watching on the TV, you are practicing with your laptop. That makes it easy. In fact, most people use crack software. And if your internet is on, for instance, the crack software will not work. Autodesk will capture it and it becomes difficult for you to use the software. So it's better to have the software or watch the video on your tablet or on your mobile phone and then practice with your laptop. The app is downloadable all around. You can download it on. It's not even an app per se. I wouldn't say it's an app that is stored in all these stores. It's a web app, just like you have the WhatsApp web. So you just save it on your list and it opens as an app. That's how it is.
It's okay. I will give it a try. If I'm finding any difficulties, I will.
Thank you. Kelly T, what do you have to say before we close? I'm going to stop recording.
All right. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.